Okay, let's do this. Welcome to the start of Burnout, and where ultimately it is now time for us to head up to Championship mode. And one thing that I forgot to mention in the introduction to this game is that, well, this game, as well as being released on the PlayStation and the Xbox, well, PlayStation 2, if we're going to be pedantically specific, it was also released on the GameCube, around about the same time as when the Xbox version was released, in 2002. Anyways, let's now get to our first championship event, and just going to check something. Yep, I am in analog mode, and of course we have a total of 5 cars we can choose from here, but obviously I'm going to do each of these in ascending order, and so we've got 5 colours available here, and well, actually, you know what, fuck it, let's drive this thing in white. And so we have 6 championship events we need to get through here, as of which we've got the Journeyman Grand Prix, Big Run Grand Prix, Euro Marathon, Savage Streets Grand Prix, the Twilight Grand Prix, and the US Marathon as the concluding championship. And so, let's get started with Race 1, where we are driving on the Interstate. So, we need to finish in 3rd place or better in order to proceed, and hopefully, I keep forgetting the game shifts up into 1st gear for me. Anyways, I am slowly moving my way through the field, as I am already up into the 3rd position to start this off. So, already up to this point, I'm off to a positive start, because I have not crashed yet. And I would imagine these AI will have their best, will probably have their best desires to unquestionably crash me by the time I catch up to the leader, because that is what I think is going to happen. But at the moment, I'm actually surprised on how I have not wrecked yet, up to this point. Oh, and I think that looks like one of the super minis that just wrecked there. Oh, that was so close to an accident. That could have easily gone much worse if I didn't slot myself through. But up to this point, surprisingly, I have not crashed yet. Which oddly enough is a surprise up to this point, but again, it's at least a good thing to know that this thing has arguably the best handling of all the cars to choose from. Which is exactly why this car is on easy mode, because technically, overall, this car is technically the easiest to drive, arguably. Can I make this a perfect first lap? I mean, I'm doubting myself, yes, but it's not impossible to survive the first lap without being involved in a big one. And, you know, when I say a big one, I mean as like basically myself just demolishing the car. And surprisingly, this does turn out to be a perfect first lap. And using the boost, because apparently that has a purpose in this game. A serving purpose, I might add. I forgot that's not where the turn was. And... oh my god! Jesus Christ, I have no idea how I managed to avoid that. That would have almost certainly been disastrous if it was... yep, okay, I just jinxed myself. Well, at least I can say the muscle car wrecked right behind me as well, whilst I hit the truck. Oh, yep, okay. This is where it all starts falling apart. Aha. Aha, you ain't wrecking me, dumbass. Because you just wrecked yourself. So, I think it was quite surprising to me to say that I actually managed to achieve having a wreck-free lap. Which, oddly enough, was one thing I did not expect was going to happen. Especially considering I am notably driving the easiest car to handle in this game. Which, of course, I would assume is what the difficulty settings are for each of these cars. Basically explaining which ones are the easiest to control, and also which ones are the hardest. And up to this point, I've been very lucky to only have 2 wrecks up to this point, and I actually got a power slide there. At least it looks like it was a power slide as I was drifting my way through the spiral. Anyways, final lap. And even though it wasn't quite as good as the first lap, the truth is, I'm just absolutely decimating the opposition because I am making the least amount of mistakes. And oddly enough, this does actually come as a surprise to me because I would have honestly thought for sure to start off this game I would be undeniably reckless, but apparently not. Although it could just be because I'm recording this on the weekend. I don't need to be anywhere on a Monday, unfortunately. Yep, that was just an accident waiting to happen. Well, that's a good thing I've crashed the least amount of times in this race. Which does come as a positive to me. And, oh, okay, well, looks as though the muscle car has now closed up to my white Super Mini. And shouldn't really come as too much of a surprise, because I'm pretty sure the muscle car must have some serious speed compared to me. At least I think that's what the case turns out to be. And now he's dropping back again. But he will catch up because he has the... fuck. And there he goes. Yep, okay. I think I just fucked myself. That really costed me. Well, I don't think I'm gonna win this now because I forgot this was a rush hour racing scenario, but as long as I can finish in the third or battle, that's all I really care about. And this is where it all starts to fall apart. But at least I survived, which is what counts. It was going solid. It was going solidly, and then suddenly I just literally fucked myself when I hit a van. And then once I hit that white van, as which that is a common thing with lots of white van drivers, but anyways. Once I hit that white van, that was basically when my race fell apart. That was basically when my race fell apart. As in like, it was going solidly, and then suddenly, just like that, and then suddenly, just like that, I still had to end up making the rookie error. I am upset. Well, at least I can say I managed to survive by finishing second. Just goes to show, of course, that you don't necessarily need to proceed... Sorry, that you don't necessarily need to win in order to proceed. Although, then again, I am still mad at myself for the simplest of mistakes I made. Distracting myself whilst not concentrating on what was ahead of me. Alright, well, I think I've got enough of a replay image there. At least one that would be susceptible towards the... Yeah, so anyways... I crashed only 5 times, and it was basically that crash on the final lap that ultimately cost me victory. That's all it really was. Yes, by the way, we can, of course, save the replays. And well, in case if I don't get anything suitable, I'm gonna save this one. In case if I do not get anything suitable. By the way, yes, I am still mad at myself for costing myself what would have easily been the race win. Anyways, also, by the way, I set a new record for pretty much having the worst crash on the leaderboard. And 7th overall in terms of the overall worst drivers on the circuit. Anyways, let's head over to Harbour Town and see if we can manage to rectify ourselves from an L to a W. Hopefully. Also, by the way, yes, I am still mad at myself for that last lap mistake I made, whilst I was clearly out in front of the rest of the field with the muscle car right behind me. I mean, that was completely my fault that I fucked up. I mean, it's not even the marginal victory that stings me the most. It's basically the fact on saying that I made a mistake I know for sure I should not have made, and that I basically just... yeah, okay. This race is going to go just about as solidly as the interstate did. Although, I'm hoping that this time I can at least get a win before this championship is over. Although, at least I can say I don't necessarily need to win any of the races in order to proceed. But it would be nice for me to effectively get a dub before this championship is over, because then it will at least mean that I have fucking hell. Well, at least I can say the rush hour traffic is affecting the AI as much as it is me. Considering I am, of course, playing the PS2 version. But again, if I can manage to at least, you know, get myself a win before this championship is out, then that will probably be just the ointment I need to... Can you just fuck off? And there goes the pickup. So again, it looks like everything is going to fall apart. And I don't think I'm going to win this race. Although in saying that, the pickup just wrecked himself. Well, at least I can say I'm able to withstand the frustration at a much more calmer level, at a much more settled level of endearment than I did than I would have done about 10 years ago, because I would have just literally been yelling at my TV for the mistakes I made if I was me 10 years ago. But fortunately, that's not who I am. I just negotiate with the L, and then if I know very well that it's a loss, I can always try to rectify that with a win, hopefully. Although it does depend on knowing, of course, if the driver himself is confident enough to not fall for even some of the simplest accident-prone mistakes. As which, that is exactly what I'm currently pulling off. Well, at least I can say I'm still in the lead. Somehow. Well, I guess it just goes to show that if these sorts of crashes can basically happen to someone as uncharacteristic as me, well, can happen to someone about as smoothly charismatic as myself behind the wheel, then they can basically happen to anyone. I'm pretty sure there is not one Burnout gameplay, at least of this game, where there has effectively been a driver that has managed to escape an accident. Well, at least have a perfect record of avoiding accidents. I mean, that I know for sure is just not going to happen. Oh, no you don't. Oh no you fucking don't. I'm not throwing this bitch away like I did the previous one. Come on, get out me fucking way! Okay. Fuck. Do I at least have some boost left over? fuck you. I think I just costed myself another win. At least I think that's what I did. I mean, am I? Oh, for fuck's sake! Why me? Of all the fucking people in the world, why does it always have to be me? For fuck's sake. Now I know how it feels to be Kyle Busch. Fuck! I don't even know how I'm going to survive this. Fuck's sake. I really wanted to win this race, and yet I just literally had to fuck myself again! I had to make the same fucking mistakes twice. Well, at least I can say I managed to qualify. Well, at least I managed to meet the target. But again, this still does not resolve the failures that I had. Again, when I had the perfect opportunity to win. I am still mad at myself for the simplest mistakes I'm making. Anyways, I'm just gonna have to gloss over that and just try and focus on at least getting second in the final race, which I think is my minimum objective. So, 6th in terms of worst drivers, and no new records set, unfortunately. Anyways, let's head over to the final race in River City, where we need to finish in second. And can I manage to cap this off with a win? Probably not. But am I going to try and go for the win anyway? Abso-fucking-lutely. Okay. So that is what happens when you do not qualify. And ultimately, because I got fucked by a bus, literally right in the dying moments of this fucking race, I just literally binned it. Right in the dying moments of this race, when I thought for sure I was going to win. Anyways, let's retry. So anyways, that is what happens when you do not qualify. It just says you failed. And oddly enough, if I'm basically this reckless to start off with the game, then overall, I have no doubts in saying that I'm probably going to be having a lot more trouble by the time we get to the later stages of this game. I'm going to shit myself. Oh, shit. I don't know how I'm making it through this traffic unscathed. I just don't fucking know how I'm able to do this. Oh god, crossroads. Okay. Okay, so left turn and roundabout. I know that by heart. Oh no, I'm continuing to make mistakes. Fortunately, these AI are wrecking behind me as well, in response to me. You know what? I'm going to take responsibility for that. I I know that ordinarily I would blame the AI for those deliberate causes of action, but again, I'm going to take the blame for that one because I was basically trying to defend the lead, and yet I did not focus on what was in front of me. Oh my god, that's a parking lot. Okay. I have survived lap 1. Just depends on knowing if I can survive the other 2 laps without making any major mistakes. Although I'm quite sure the mistakes are not over yet, and I am quite certain this will not. And I'm also quite sure that this will not be an accident-free lap. Because, well, rubber banding is quite strong in this game, and if I know from previous experience in this championship, I lost the first 2 races because I'm going to shit myself. Because I basically binned it on the final lap. Right when I thought for sure I was going to start the game with confidence, I basically just started it with chaos. And that's more or less what I think this game is going to end with. Oh, thank fuck I was able to swerve. Go fuck yourself. I have no idea how that was not. I have no idea on how that wreck did not become any more diabolical than it was. I thought for sure that was going to be another diabolical, but surprisingly it wasn't. And yes, I did of course think it was necessary for me to step on the brakes. Okay, I have survived the tunnel section, although I'm still not able to survive the crossroads. Because someone always has to pop out in front of me, which infuriates me. Just hopefully this doesn't repeat itself too much. Although it will surprise me if I do manage to win this race. I mean, I'm confident enough to say that I can at least pass my objectives, but dependent on knowing if I can actually win this race or not, that probably remains to be seen. Because judging by the chaos and destruction that I've seen at crossroad sections, that's going to be very hard, to say the least. Just had to bin it on the final lap again. Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. I did not think I was going to avoid that. Anyways, I win. Finally. Yes! I finally get a win. Almost thought for sure it wasn't going to happen, but I actually got myself a win in the end. Thank God. I did not think I was going to avoid that wreck with the bus. So anyways, I win. After taking a second attempt. Anyways, let's continue. And I think I already have saved a crash replay just in case. And so, ironically enough, I set the 5th best lap time overall in River City. And apparently in terms of worst drivers, I'm now up to $421,672 in the Super Mini. Well, at least I can say I've managed to get past the Journeyman Grand Prix after I pretty much fucked myself in the first 2 races and basically chucked those. Anyways, Championship unlocked, Big Run Grand Prix, Face-Off unlocked, Face-Off 1, Tracks unlocked, Hillside Pass, Twilight Harbour, and Gridlock USA. As our next championship will be the Big Run Grand Prix. Boy, will that be an ordeal. So, anyways, that's the Journeyman Grand Prix, and next time we shall be doing the Big Run Grand Prix. Stay tuned for more demolition and destruction.